Hey, Chris Jenkins, credential member of the media, covering the Carolina Panthers for Charlotte Vibe, coming to you from a slightly different location, but nevertheless with the same purpose of keeping you informed about this Carolina Panthers team, going down as much as I can, play by play, breaking down the snaps. But I've earned the name Man of the People because I love working for the fans of the Carolina Panthers. Even though you guys, you want me to do stuff that I can't do. We put the highlight video up today, as we do every day, as close to immediately after practice as we can. And people were like, hey, man, we'd love to see more 11 on 11 or 7 on 7. Let me tell you this. I would love to give you guys a lot more content. But today, for whatever reason, I don't know, we had our shortest amount of time that we could record / take photos of this Carolina Panthers practice with the New York Jets. So whatever I can do, I'll give it to you. But when I stop, that means the team doesn't want to allow me to do more. But something good for you. I had a photographer out here today. Our photographer Patrick was out here taking some excellent pictures. So I'm going to show you some video today, but I also want you to check out our Instagram. Charlotte Vibe is the handle. You'll be able to see lots of great photos from today's practice with the New York Jets. So how's everybody doing out there today? Let's see if we've got a few. Hey, look at this. Jamarcus Anton. Good morning, good afternoon. Good afternoon to you. So my normal spot, which is kind of behind me over there at the stadium, wasn't able to get to it, so I had to make do, which I don't think is too bad. Maybe I'll continue to do this spot because it's a tent, so my shade is complete. And hopefully you all can hear me well, and we're going to go through some things here because they don't want the video out before Hard Knocks. Yeah, there's lots of things, but I'll say this. I get it. Almost no matter who you are, if you're not like a billion-dollar media, then you're going to have to make sure that, you're going to have to just fall in line where you can with getting some things. And I'm okay with that because it's still a privilege to be able to have these credentials and bring some coverage to you all about this Carolina Panthers team. So I'm just going to go over a few notes, and then I have an exciting series that we're going to talk about here in just a second, or I should say an exciting new segment, which is 2-minute thoughts. So 2-minute thoughts will be where I have a guest on the show. It's going to be another member of the media, whether it's local or national. They'll come on for 2 minutes and share their thoughts on whatever latest news that's going on regarding the Carolina Panthers. So I have that segment debuting for you today. I hope you enjoy it. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comments. And by the way, you know what I'm going to ask for? We're trying to get to 10,000 subscribers by the end of training camp. Now, training camp's not over tomorrow, but it's done in Spartanburg tomorrow. So if you can hit a like, that'd be great. If you can't do the subscription, but if you have not subscribed, please consider doing so. And we're going to start going live and inviting you on the show. So I want to let you know that that's coming. All right, enough jibber jabber. Let's go ahead and get into some things from today. So 2 players today that were not in pads. One of those players was Laviska Shenault. He was not in pads today. And the other player would have been Frankie Luvu. Those 2 players were not in pads today, but everybody else was in pads. So let's go ahead and at this moment debut our new segment, which is 2-minute thoughts. Today, had the pleasure of having Joe Person from The Athletic join me, and I'm going to go ahead and play that clip for you all, and hope you enjoy it. Again, let me know your feedback, all right? Give me just a second. I'm going to pull this up for you. And here, all right, here we go. Maybe not. Maybe I need to use 2 hands instead of trying to use 1 hand. All right, I'm trying again. I keep missing the drag and drop. Here we go. So Chris Jenkins, joined by Joe Person of The Athletic for our very first episode of 2-minute thoughts. Joe, you're the first guest, so I appreciate you coming on.
All right, man, let's go.
So here's how it works for those that are watching. It's going to be 2 minutes that I'm going to put on the timer. You don't have to stop right at the end of the 2 minutes, Joe, but
Do I have to talk the whole time, or are you going to intersperse with some questions?
It'll be interspersed.
All right, good,
That's
good.
a big word.
Okay.
You went to a different college than me.
I don't know about that.
All right, so I'm going to start the question, then I'll start the timer.
Perfect.
So we'll start with an easy one. Jets in today for a joint practice with the Carolina Panthers. What were your observations from today in this circus-like atmosphere?
I thought Bryce Young handled himself like we have seen all through camp, which is to say no moment was too big, not meeting with Aaron Rodgers before practice, not dealing with that Jets defense, which even though they didn't play Carl Lawson and Sauce Gardner today.
Uh-huh.
Still pretty salty defense. And Bryce had one pick, but man, he had a lot of completions over the middle of the field too, which is what people were wondering would some of those passes get tipped.
Yeah. So we also yesterday had a new transaction officially. I think Rappaport says officially official with Justin Houston being signed. I don't know if you were able to get eyes on him today to see what he did. I know he was in pads.
Yeah, he didn't do a lot. In fact, I think at the end of practice, he was out there running gassers, trying to get his wind.
Yeah.
But he was funny, man. Like yesterday, I said, I got the feeling this has been in the works for, well, he said it, like for a couple of months.
Yeah.
And I said, did it have to do with you being a veteran, not kind of wanting to miss camp? And he said, dude, I wouldn't have been sad if we'd done this next week.
Yeah.
But he knows how to get his body ready. He's going to be ready for week 1. And he gives them that compliment to Brian Burns.
Yeah, something that we need to have that dual edge presence for the defense. Now, we had a kicker that that's out right now. We had to bring a new kicker in.
Yeah.
I have lots of thoughts about that because I love the special teams guys, but I want your thoughts.
No offense to Matthew Wright, but today I called him Matthew Wright wide right.
Yes,
'cause
yes.
He was 1 for 2 today. That's kind of a tough situation, but
How long was that one did he miss? You recall? I didn't have a good
it was
angle.
fairly long. I think it was close to 50.
Yeah.
But obviously, he's just kind of holding Eddie Piñeiro's seat till he gets back, and sounds like it should be sooner rather than later.
Maybe first week, or Frank hadn't given us too
Yeah, I
much.
don't know. Yeah, I don't think he's going to kick Saturday, but I think he might even kick toward the end of preseason.
Okay, we're doing good. We haven't run out of time yet,
Well,
but I got a
we're
feeling on
close.
this
Let's
one
go.
is going to run out. All right, depth chart came out yesterday. Anything that stuck out to you from that depth chart?
Yeah, I was a little surprised they had Chanel behind Mingo, but LaVisca's such a chess piece. I mean, you could have put him in running backs, you could have put him in wide receivers. He will be a factor.
Okay. We're
We-
right.
we
We're right
had
at it. You did good.
2-minute drill, buddy.
Thanks, everybody. Links in the description to follow Joe on Twitter with The Athletic. Thanks so much, Joe.
All right, buddy.
All right, so there you have it. Again, thanks to Joe Person of The Athletic for joining me earlier today, right after practice, to talk about some of his observations from today. I matched a lot of what Joe thought about today, talking about the offense and both sides of the ball. I felt like, but I'm going to first talk about the offense and Bryce Young. I liked it. I liked what I saw today from Bryce Young. I've been saying, for me, I don't go to get too critical and say, hey, take what I'm saying with a grain of salt and where we are at the process in training camp, whether it's week 1 or day 8. Considering all things about these guys being in pads, not being in pads, these guys not going up against anyone, they can't have any contact. So today I was very excited to see Bryce Young performing against the New York Jets, and I was very happy about his results. So I'm going to go over the snap by snap, but again, overall, I really liked how Bryce Young performed today against the New York Jets, and excited about continuing to see him grow and lead this Carolina Panthers team. On the defense, I had a chance to see them as well. I had to try to split my time in between, and there was a lot to look at today with having almost 200 players on the field, not to mention all the HBO Hard Knock staff and things like that. But I had a chance to watch the defense, and they looked pretty good as well. During the times that I was watching those guys, there weren't any deep passes thrown. There were several incompletions that were thrown. I saw Rodgers doing some checkdowns. Again, that's not the entire time with the defense, but that's what I saw during the time that I got to watch. So I'm about to go through my play-by-play. See some lights coming. Please keep those lights coming, by the way. And time permitting, I'm going to come back and jump into those comments for you all right? So let's go ahead and go through my notes. But by the way, the word of the day, obstructed view. It was so hard to see practice today because of the number of people that were out here, predominantly going from 90 players to now 180 players. And then you add on the HBO staff, tons of cameras, tons of people. And numerous times today, the view that I had was obstructed, but I did as much as I can, running around, trying to see better, and even going up on the hill with the fans, putting on the binoculars, and trying to get some view to bring you some stats. So that's the word of the day, obstructed view. All right, starting with 7-on-7. Give me just a moment here. I was about to sing on camera. That's probably not a good thing to do because I'm not the best singer in the world. All right, starting with the first play, 7-on-7. Bryce hits Hayden Hurst. Next play, Bryce makes a completion, was not quite able to see who the completion to. So there you have it, my very next play. I couldn't see who the completion was to. Bryce with a pass that was intended for Javon Wims. This pass was incomplete. However, there was a penalty on that play on the defense, so that would have been a do-over. So again, Bryce with an attempt to Javon Wims. It was an incomplete, but there was a flag on the play, so that would have negated that incompletion for Bryce. On the next play, Bryce incomplete. Could not see who the intended receiver was on that play. Wow, that's 2 out of 4 so far. It gets better, though. I was able to find some better angles to get you some numbers here. Bryce on his next attempt with a completed pass to Javon Wims. And also, it seemed like what I noticed today from the offense and just the pace of play seemed a little bit upbeat today, more than what I've seen over these past couple of weeks down here in Spartanburg. And then also, I felt like I saw Bryce Young being very intentful and purposeful as he's back there. I didn't see him looking like, oh, shoot, this is happening, where do I go? It was every time that he had to react, move left, move right, move up, whatever he needed to do, it seemed decisive. And that's the part that I liked a lot, was most excited about in watching today, was how decisive that he seemed to be in every phase of the game. And when I say every phase, that's whether the play is going as planned, whether the play is breaking down, whether he needs to scramble, whether there's too many people in his face, etc. All those circumstances that came up today with him, he excelled in my opinion. Next play, Bryce threw the ball away, but also had pressure on him. This pass that he threw was in the end zone. It went through the uprights, but that play to me seemed like it was one in which Bryce was really just throwing the ball away because he didn't have an open receiver to hit on that. Next play, Bryce with the completion about 20 yards down the field on an out. And that'll take care of Bryce's first series. That first series was 7-on-7. Where did I put my water? I don't know where I put my water. So I won't delay the show looking for my water, even though I really want it. All right. Moving on, Andy Dalton comes in. He has a completion about 15 yards down the field to Derek Wright. And also, in addition to my obstructed view that I had a lot of times today, a lot of players had their jerseys rolled up. And it made it hard to identify who that player was because his jersey was tucked right under his shoulder pads. Little note. And there were skirmishes today. There were many skirmishes early on today, which I'm going to go through here in my notes. Next play, Dalton to Sullivan in the end zone on a quick slant. Dalton doing a pretty good job of throwing some touchdowns in 7-on-7s, especially in the red zone during his training camp. Dalton with a great pass to Sullivan, crossing the field, going out of bounds. Nice pass over the shoulder, in which he was able to connect with Sullivan on. Next play, Dalton hits Sullivan again. Next play, Dalton had nowhere to go. So this did happen, sometimes today, but you're not going to expect that to not happen at all. If you do, that means the other team is playing really bad, which you won't see that happen. So Dalton threw the ball away due to the pressure. Next play, Dalton with a completion to Adam Thielen. This was on an out route. Next, our man Matt Corral comes in. Matt Corral, nice back shoulder pass to Shi Smith. He was not able to bring it in. Not sure who the defender was, but it looked like a pretty, 50-50 type ball in which Dalton was able to squeeze it in there, and due to the pressure with the defender on Shi Smith, he wasn't able to bring in that catch. Now, though Shi was not able to bring in that catch, from my eyes and seeing on practice today, Shi Smith was a guy that had a good practice today. Maybe having an opportunity to step up with Damiere Byrd out, saying, hey, here's a time to get a few more reps and take advantage of it. And so far today, in my opinion, Shi Smith did take advantage of some increased reps today. Corral still in there, had a pump fake, and then came back and hit Cameron Peoples over the center. Next play, Corral comes and hits Giovanni Ritchie coming out of the backfield short into the flats with a completion there. And then we go back to team drills. Bryce is in. Bryce hits Jonathan Mingo out of the shotgun with a completion. Next play, Bryce hands off the ball. It was a flag on this play. Defensive guy. So this is when the skirmishes started. So again, on this play, Bryce had a handoff. It was a flag on the play. It was not even a thrown ball, but it was, I didn't see who the defender was, but he basically had knocked Hayden Hurst down. And then after he knocked Hayden Hurst down, he's doing the whole stay on him, won't let him get up, kind of pushing him. Of course, Hayden Hurst not going to like that. He starts pushing him back. So there's a little skirmish. So that was your first of several skirmishes that started today with Hayden Hurst being involved. On the next play, Bryce with a handoff to Chuba. And again, Hayden Hurst, number 81, getting tangled up with the defender who had just set on him on the previous play. Again, another little skirmish takes place. No punches are thrown, no melee takes place, but just a little skirmish. And then after that play, Hayden Hurst comes out to take a breather to try to simmer things down a little bit. So 2 skirmishes back to back there in practice. Bryce Young on this next play, showing a lot of patience in the pocket. Moving around. Lost my notes as I was talking there. I'm sorry, give me a second. Yeah, so Bryce was showing a lot of patience on this play. Pocket was caving in. He's moving around. Throws a pass over the center. Well contested. And so it was not a catch on that play. But from a rookie, keeping his pose, keeping his composure, moving around, still finding a receiver and getting the ball downfield towards him, I give him an A+ on that. He did extremely well in that today. Bryce was in a shotgun, handoff for a short gain. Dalton comes in, handoff to Chuba up the middle. Dalton then with a bullet pass to Javon Wims that was caught in traffic. Next play would have been a sack on Dalton, so good pressure from the New York Jets on the next play. And then Bryce with a handoff. I believe the ball was stripped, and then after the ball was stripped, Ian Thomas, maybe he was the guy who got the ball stripped, which doesn't make any sense because it would have been a handoff, again, obstructed view. But I just saw the ball handoff go in the middle, and then all of a sudden I see the ball come out, Jets fall on it, then Ian Thomas is walking back towards that play that recovered it, kind of goes to try to snag the ball away from him, and then yet your third skirmish that takes place today. So lots of action, lots of skirmishes, lots of good contact today too. It was nice to hear those pads clacking, and I forget, I'll probably read it here in a second, play where receiver makes a catch and you see the sweat literally just go and pour away from it. I don't know, something like a Gatorade commercial type deal, but lots of good action today, some real action, which we have not been able to see so far. Next play, Bryce is in the shotgun, off sides by the Jets. Next play, Bryce is in the shotgun, trips right, hits a wide open DJ Chark, who came from the left of the field, hit him about 20 yards down the field. Very nice pass by Bryce Young. Next play, Bryce dumped it off to Blackshear. It seemed like there was a slight miscommunication on this play because right before Bryce gets ready to release the ball, kind of in the flats to his right, Blackshear kind of turns to go downfield. Blackshear turns to go downfield, and then Bryce throws it, and he's a little bit behind him on it, and so he wasn't able to bring that in. So I think, Blackshear was just thinking, okay, well, I'm going to go. I'm going to release it. There's a little bit of open space. Not a big deal because at the least, no interception, just an incompletion. All right, moving along. Bryce with a handoff up the center. Nice strong run. Did not get to see what player that was with that run there. Bryce in the shotgun scrambled around and then hit Tommy Tremble on the right. Good ability, in my notes says, good ability knowing where everyone was on the field. This is the play in which I saw the sweat fly after the guy was hit. But Bryce moves around really, really good in the pocket. And I think this was the one where he kind of went this way to the right, came to go up the center, stopped, and just flung it to Tremble for the completion. Corral comes in the shotgun, hands off to Cameron Peoples. Matt Corral still in the game, hits Stephon Sullivan. After this hit by Sullivan, another scrum. So that's skirmish, whatever you want to call it, number 4 on the day. And after that, it tapered off. Spoiler alert. Corral's in and hits Shi Smith. The play didn't count because it was a false start on the offense on that play. Bryce then comes back in, hands off. Bryce then in the shotgun, a false start. Bryce in the shotgun hits Jonathan Mingo on a short route about where the numbers were on the field. Bryce then in the shotgun to hit DJ Chark, short right up the middle. This play was, this ball, when he hit Mingo, was bobbled a little bit by Mingo, bobbled a little bit by the defender. I think then touched one more time by Mingo before the defender then caught the ball, brought it in, and was able to make the interception. So not at all a clean interception. That ball was tipped many, many times and ultimately intercepted, recovered by the New York Jets. So that is the one interception. You heard Joe Person and I talking earlier from The Athletic. That is the one interception that took place today by Bryce Young. Next play, Bryce with a handoff to Miles Sanders. Next play, Bryce in the shotgun hits Terrace Marshall Jr. coming across the middle. And, man, Marshall gave a hit to the New York Jets defender that was like clack, clack, clack. It was very, very loud. The fans cheered about it and loved it, and he held on to the ball, continued to run down the field. So Terrace Marshall Jr. continuing to do well as he made the catch, had some contact, and still went through with care, keeping the ball and running down the field. Next play that I have is Bryce with a handoff. I'm sorry, that was in for Bryce. I jumped ahead of myself. We have, hit the screen, so give me just a second to get the camera going back right. One second.
I found you.
Second, buddy. Yes, you did.
I had to pull up your line to see where you was.
Come on, technical difficulties. All right, give me one more second to try to get this camera thing right. Hold on. Live TV, this is what happens sometimes. I was about to give up. All right, I promise this is the last attempt here. If I don't get this right, I'll just go to my alternate camera and finish the video because we only got about 5 more minutes on the broadcast here. Live technical difficulty issues. My fingers are crossed. Fingers are crossed that it's gonna stay. Got my main camera back. Check, check, check. We're good. Hey, live TV. Things happen, and you guys get to see it behind the scenes with me. All right, let me continue to go through these plays, and then I'm going to try to jump into some questions here. Bryce in the shotgun hits Chark on an immediate route. Bryce with a handoff to Chuba. Bryce to Marshall on a route crossing about 15 yards down the field, but it was too high. So Marshall, that was a play that was not on Marshall. The play was just the ball was just a little bit too high. Corral then comes in, handoff to Peoples, and then Corral with a handoff to Blackshear, and then Corral deep to Wims down the field. It looked so pretty. I mean, it was a nice play. You could see that it was developing. You could see that he was going to go to Wims, threw a nice ball, but threw it just a hair too far out of bounds. Wims wasn't able to catch it, but even if he had have caught it, it would have been out of bounds anyway. So we're going to stop right there. They then go into special teams. As you may have heard earlier, our new kicker, Mr. Wright, was wide right on 1 of 2 kicks, so he was 1 of 2 today. Then they went into special teams. I'm sorry, that is special teams. After special teams, they then did the 2-minute drill. Looked pretty good. Lots of completions that Bryce had. Very good command of the offense. That 2-minute drive for them ended with a field goal. Rodgers came in to quarterback, because at this point they were doing like simulated, I guess, game situation. Rodgers came in, basically did a 4-and-out, and then the Panthers take the ball back. Dalton goes down the field and ends with a field goal that was no good. And I think that might be the end of my notes. Oh, and then the Jets came back to be on defense one more time. They had an incompletion, and then what may be the unanimous player of training camp. Let me try to get his name right. Camus Gruber Hill with an interception to end training camp practice today against the New York Jets. So there you have it. Camus doing a very good job. I know last week Shaq Thompson talked about the fact that, Camus might have just been brought in here to be on special teams and kind of be a rotation, but they're going to have to find a place and a way to get him on the field more, because he's been that good. And, he was that good last week. He continues to excel this week. So there you have it, your recap from Spartanburg with the New York Jets practice today. Tons of media, tons of HBO Hard Knocks cameras, tons of Jets fans. Largest crowd that I have ever seen out here at Wofford College on the Hill. The official distributed tickets today were 10,200 and I believe 14. It's definitely over 10,000 tickets that were distributed for practice today. So anticipate it could be crowded tomorrow. Tomorrow is the last day down in training camp here in Spartanburg. It's going to take place at 9 o'clock, so it'll be an hour earlier. So if you plan on coming, make sure that you account for some of the traffic that you may encounter. It will not be like the previous practices where you can kind of scoot right on in here at practice time. So let me go ahead and see if I could touch on a few of these comments before I get off of here, as we have some that have come in. And Vincent Trope, did you see? I'm upset from the dislikes on the last video. Yeah, see, now you jinxed it. You said it, and now we're up. We went from 0 to 3 dislikes. I don't know. I can't give the dislikes much credit because they don't tell me why. I'm the man of the people, so I don't mind the feedback or any criticism. But when you dislike the video and you don't even say why, I think you're just out here just trying to be a distraction. Let's see. Vincent Trost, did you see Hard Knocks yet? I did not see Hard Knocks, but during scrimmage, I wore my red shirt that some of you asked me not to wear on camera anymore, so I took it off before getting on camera. But that's going to be my cue, and that's going to be the way that I see if I make Hard Knocks, because I'll be really easy to see this guy with the red shirt standing on the sidelines. And there was a point where I was talking to, I believe it was Nate at WBTV, and I saw the cameras from Hard Knocks right at me. All right, so maybe I made my my HBO debut. I made the what was it, Amazon Prime? I think did the, what was their series called when the Panthers were on there several years ago? But I made the Amazon Prime many years ago for that video. Let's see if I make Hard Knocks. Let's see about a few other ones here. Some positive comments from Frank, and then with some hearts, some positive comments from Frank as well, and Marcos. Let me see if I can get to this one from Benjamin. This will be the last one. I got to get back on the road up 85, but any reaction to the new depth chart Panthers just released? Yeah, so reaction was, for me, seeing that Jonathan Mingo was ahead of Terrace Marshall Jr. So not extremely surprising, but that was a surprise for me. You know, rookie draft pick coming in. He's been doing pretty good. To me, he's had some drops, but obviously they're high on him. He's not been bad at all. He's not been bad. So for me, it was DJ Mingo being above Terrace Marshall, but Terrace Marshall has certainly been coming on late this past week, having another good practice today. Another one, man, I can't think of the guy's name, linebacker. I think I want to say Brandon. I'm not sure the last name, but he was a little bit further down on that depth chart. I think it was Brandon Smith, a little bit further down on that depth chart than I thought that he would be. Other guys kind of fell into where you thought that they would be, and for most of these guys, they're going to start being able to prove where they belong on this depth chart this Saturday when they take on the New York Jets. I'll be there along with my co-host, Andre Cassidy. So hope that you consider joining us. Subscribe, hit the bell notifications. Also, check out our Instagram. Lots of great photos. Let me see if I can get one up really quick from today. I don't know if I put it on the computer before I started. Yeah, here we go. Some great pictures. There you go. There you have it. Bryce Young and Aaron Rodgers before practice. So if you like that photo and you want to see more, just head on over to our Instagram page and you'll be able to see that. So live from Spartanburg, day 11 in the books, Chris Jenkins for Charlotte Vibe.